I like dolls, but I love books. Okay, I love dolls too, you got me. Hello out there, all of you spunky little doll-loving book nerds, and welcome to my channel where my dolls and I sit and talk about the books we like. Sometimes it's Barbie, sometimes it's Illy, sometimes it's Monster High, sometimes it's a Disney princess. Okay, must I carry on because I really feel like you get the point. Basically, my dolls and I have our own little book club. My name is Daniel, and I am the Barbie book boy. So there I was, trapped in the unconscious throes of a mild hallucination like an oracle during Fleet Week. The narrative of my hallucination was me shopping for a new doll at Ross, where somewhere between my REM cycle and a clearance bin, I spotted her. A beautiful, enchanted evening Barbie marked down. I mean, I assume she was marked down because her price was written in like alien glyphs, but I didn't care. I made the dream purchase and I brought that baby home. And it was then that I opened her up only to discover she was a fake, a knockoff. She'd somehow been mysteriously switched, and she wasn't the doll I bought at all. The Ross alien enchantment had worn off, and I was stuck with an imposter. She wasn't Enchanted Evening Barbie. She was Enchanted-ish Barbara. Her gown was the wrong shade of pink, like someone had described the color palette using Morse code. Her hair was styled as though the factory had used Brillo pads for brushes. Her face was like 60% Barbie, 40% woman who's taken a peek behind the veil and did not like what she saw. Accessories included one shoe and a tiara that looked like it had melted and fused to her head. I woke up screaming, clutching my pink Barbie bed sheets like they were the last authentic piece of Barbie material left on the entire planet. Once I realized it was just a dream, I needed a doll to comfort me. I needed to be soothed by someone from my own personal collection. Someone I could trust not to be an enchanted alien imposter. So I padded out to the doll room, closed my eyes, and spun in circles until I was disoriented, and then I pointed. It was the only way to guarantee fairness. I don't want to be seen as playing favorites with my dolls. I opened my eyes, and my gaze fell upon my 1964 swirl ponytail Barbie. At least I think she's from 1964. That's according to a Google search I did using the markings on her bum, for which I will post a picture of, and maybe somebody who knows better could potentially tell me if she is from 64, 65, 66. Either way, she's authentic vintage. But I still squealed with delight as my random doll divining ritual had totally delivered. With swirly hair by my side, I needn't fear that the random dream knockoff had followed me through the veil. I was safe with a real vintage beauty. The comfort she brought me helped to make me feel whole again. She made me feel complete. She made me feel hungry. So we ran downstairs for an allergy pill and some toast. I inhaled my breakfast and we settled into our favorite armchair with a mug of steaming Java. Me still in my toast crumb-soiled robe, and her in her original apple print sheath dress from the Easter Parade fashion pack. I don't know if you can see this or not, but her dress has the original YKK stamp from the Japanese factory that produced all the Barbie clothes in the early 60s. And her dress has the telltale Barbie by Mattel tag. So she's just an all-around vintage sensation for your nerves. But despite her ultra-chic appearance, I somehow managed to not feel underdressed as we took a deep dive into a book called A House Between Sea and Sky by Beth Cato. So let's get into it. It's 1920s California, and Fayette and her sourdough starter need some peace and quiet. She's hoping that the solitude will be the perfect environment for her to finish writing her latest project. So off they go, just a woman and her bread base, whom she calls Mother, because it's a sourdough starter, and I guess that's just what they're called, is Mother. Anyway, Fayette and her magic little sourdough starter are looking for a reprieve from their mutual grief. So she rents a place in Carmel, California, and sets to working on her next big Hollywood story. Being 1926, Hollywood, or the concept of Hollywood itself, is still just a young, up-and-coming ingenue that Fayette is looking to court, but it's been kind of hard since the death of her mom, which she's actually kind of mad at her sourdough starter for. Because, see, Fayette and her family have been taking care of the same sourdough starter for like generations. And they use its magical powers for like healing and stuff like that. But Mother didn't save her mother, and now Fayette is motherless with just herself and her mother. Okay, let me clarify. The healing powers of her sourdough starter called Mother weren't enough to save the life of her actual mom. Are you still with me? So Fayette is dealing with her feelings about that while trying to keep this starter alive and working on her career all at the same time. But she gets distracted one dark and stormy night by having to save the life of handsome Hollywood film star Rex Hallstrom. Rex is in the midst of like a full-blown existential crisis. But the storm outside is like super treacherous for them to be just hanging out on this cliffside. So they take shelter in a mysterious but seemingly abandoned house. But it ain't no ordinary house. It's a conscious, living, feeling house that can actually sense that Fayette has a little bit of magic of her own. And this house is intrigued. It likes what it sees in Fayette. Likewise, so does Fayette and her new pal, Rex. They go on this mission to try to like start figuring out this mysterious house. And they actually manage to pick up a few tidbits of local gossip. Things like how the house just suddenly appeared in a single night, and how it's evil incarnate, and it's probably cursed. But Fayette and Rex don't think so. They think the house is delightful and comforting, thank you very much. And the house is likewise just as taken by its two new pals, though they aren't quite aware of the house's sentience just yet. See, the house doesn't really have a way of like effectively communicating with anyone, at least not in like so many words or anything. So the mysteries are plentiful and the magic is magicking. But is the magic maybe a little too magic-y? Are Fayette and Rex getting in over their heads between her preternatural sourdough starter and now this random, unexplainable, mysterious little magic house that they've just inadvertently stumbled onto? And well, that's basically the story of A House Between Sea and Sky by Beth Cato. So what are my thoughts? Beth Cato has baked a carb-heavy, whimsical story of beauty by the sea. And reading this story was like a gentle little kneading of your grief that forces you to feel things deep in your heart, whether you want to or not. And the house itself, well, let's just say that Zillow doesn't exactly have a search filter for this kind of thing, because this house has personality. It's got flair. It's not going to just sit there quietly being a building. It wants to be included. It just doesn't really know how to like make that happen quite yet. And that theme of longing and connection and belonging is carried through to the actual human characters in this book as well. See, this book is essentially about healing, but not the practical kind where you go to therapy and talk about your feelings. No. This is literary healing, where you stand at the edge of a windy cliff, dramatically hugging yourself tightly while sighing meaningfully and being emotionally healed through the powers of sourdough bread. Seriously, reading this book, I actually thought about moving to a beautiful coastline somewhere, despite my irrational fear of rogue waves. But the found family elements in this book are so touching, because we'd all be better off if we expanded our concepts of family to include those sparkly people who are woven into our lives but don't necessarily share our DNA, like me and all my dolls. We're not genetically related, but we're still a family. So there you have it. Some thoughts on A House Between Sea and Sky by Beth Cato. A book about following your baking bliss against all odds. A book of ancestral, bubbling, yeasty magic. A book of courageously powering through the carbs into pure chaos. Thank you so much for watching. My dolls and I are going to be doing these videos weekly, so if this is your thing, then stay tuned. Oh, and while you're here, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You're already here. Leave a comment for Swirl Ponytail Barbie. Ask her how she keeps her ponytail swoop so perfect. Tell her all about your own bread baking journey. Ask her about her own sentient little dream house. Hey, Barbie, do you know why the sourdough went to therapy? Yeah, that was the punchline.